Welcome to After Hours Conversations with Veronica, and I get to introduce you to Elaine Adwoa Kennedy. She's the founder and creator of My Vision is Clear LLC. Not only is she the founder of this amazing company, she's also the mother of two amazing boys. She wanted to live her vision, her purpose. She wanted to make sure that she was clear. And in doing that, she has found a path and a love for vision boards that assists others in living in their purpose and living their dreams. Through her company, you have access to financial coaches, fitness coaches. She wants to make sure that you have a well rounded experience to know that your vision is clear. And what does that look like for you? And how can you map everything out? I'm excited to have this conversation with her. Please welcome Elaine Adwoa Kennedy. Hello and welcome. You are at After Hours Conversations with Veronica, and I have a special guest. I'm so excited to introduce you to her today. Her name is Elaine Adwoa Kennedy, and she has a company named My Vision is Clear LLC. And she focuses in on making sure that not only she's living her purpose, but we also want to make sure that you live hers. So welcome, Elaine.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm excited. I'm excited. So this is very much after hours, right? So I have on my t-shirt. I do not
Oh,
have on my suit.
I like it. I like
I I just love talking to people who, one, are doing big things,
it.
have a focus on doing big things, but also that are willing to give back and make sure that other people are living their purpose as well. So when I learned about your company, I knew that I had to ask you to be a part. So I am very grateful. I know that my listeners will get a lot out of everything that you share. So please tell us about yourself. What's going on?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, my name is Elaine Adwoa Kennedy, and I am the owner of My Vision is Clear. And it's primarily what Miss Veronica said. It is about helping you get to your purpose, helping you be clear of the path to get towards your goals and your purpose in life. And I find that many times, including myself, we have this idea and we want to really go for it, but we just don't know where to start. And we just don't know what skills and what gifts we have. So I kind of help you to make your own path and get clear about what it is you're supposed to do.
Okay, so now when I hear my vision is clear,
Hmm.
I think of vision boards. Am I wrong?
You're
Should I
not
think
wrong.
of vision boards?
You are not wrong. Vision
Okay.
board is something that that's actually what brought on the name. I'm very big on doing vision boards, um, basically because I'm a visual learner, and I've always learned that way. I've always believed that claiming things that you see, you claim it's going to happen for you. It's motivational. It's a tangible tool that you can use to kind of just keep you motivated. And we all need motivation. And sometimes we can't get that girlfriend or that spouse to give you that oomph. You might just need to look at your vision board. And vision boards are just basically a board just stating that these are my goals I'm going to have for health, for my career, for family, whatever areas in your life that you really want to get better at. You put pictures up, you put motivational and positive words up just to kind of say, you know what, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to get that house. I'm going to get the right, make a picture of that house. I'm going to describe it to a T, or I'm going to have kids, or I'm going to have this, whatever it is, you're claiming it. It's on your board, and that's the goal. So once you have that, it's that motivation and accountability piece, and I love having those types of tools.
It reminds me of manifesting. So I have heard a lot of different people talking about manifesting, bringing things into your field of view. What I compare it to is when you're about to purchase a car, right? So you've never seen your favorite car before, but you went to the dealership. You've already started to emotionally detach from the car that you currently have.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find this new car that you've never seen before in the history of ever. Then you get back into your car that you've already started to emotionally detach from, and you start driving. Why do I now see that new car everywhere? How did it just start to pop up into what I, because I'm sure that the car wasn't miraculously created once I found it and said that this was mine.
Yeah.
So do you think that has something to do with the vision board, that you're actually just bringing more things into your field of view that will get you to that next place? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I believe words have power. I deeply believe in that. And the mind is a powerful tool. And so it's very interesting because it's almost like with your example, and almost like when you, for example, when I started to name my business, My Vision is Clear, I had never seen that vision, visioning. I didn't see it. Like I didn't see it to the extent that I'm seeing it now because I said it. And now all of a sudden, all of this visioning and accountability and all these different avenues are coming in my path. And I'm just like, wow, all because I just spoke on something I wanted to do. And because words have power, with your example, you are saying, this is what I want to have. I'm going to deal with this for now, but this is what I want to have. So your goal is, it's almost like tunnel vision. It's like, I'm going to have this. And so it's almost like that's all you see. And you don't even realize it because that is your ultimate goal. So yeah, I would say that, words, the mind are powerful tools. And so you have to be very careful as to what you ask for, what you do with it, because yeah, you will start to see these things start to manifest. You will have people coming into your lives, opportunities that start to bring this vision into fruition. And it's really an awesome feeling.
It's exciting.
Yes, very
It's
much so.
exciting because as soon as you say this is what I want. Now I do believe in emotions too,
Hmm.
right? Because I could have all of the right words, but if
Hmm.
I don't feel them,
Right.
then my opinion is that I'm not going to vibrate on the level that will bring that to me. Kind of like a tuning fork, right? So if you're in a room full of tuning forks and your tuning fork is a C, but you don't have other C tuning forks in the room,
Yeah.
if you hit that, it's not going to resonate with anything else. So that being said, if we're bringing other things in, we would
Mhm.
also need to be able to plan that out.
Yes.
Plan that out. And most of the listeners that I have are either project managers looking
Mhm.
to be project managers, or they didn't know that they were managing projects.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, they're like, oh my goodness, I do that,
Yeah.
and I do that. Am I a project manager? Okay, so if my vision is clear,
Hmm.
we also say in project management is that planning is 40% of our time, 40% of our time. And that's why a lot of people don't like to plan. So how do you make visioning fun? How do you turn it into something that doesn't feel like I'm begrudgingly having to put all these steps and all these things together? What do you do for yourself and for the people who are your clients? How do you bring that to a fun place so that they can really be creative?
So one of the things that I have found to work is with many of us, and I'd say all of us, we get excited about things that bring us passion, that we're passionate about, that we feel like it's fulfilling, or things that we discovered about ourselves that we didn't know were there, or we rediscovered and we're like, wow, yes, I could use this. I could, so we start with your skills, we start with your gifts, we start with your hobbies, we start with the things that you enjoy doing, because many times we forget that the things that we enjoy doing play a part in how we plan, in how we build relationships, and how we get certain things and opportunities for ourselves. So I think what has helped some of my clients is just the excitement of knowing that they had these skills and these gifts in them that they was probably dormant or they didn't realize they had. And so the excitement of that kind of puts a little bit of less, I guess it makes it less boring because planning sometimes can be tedious. Let's
Right.
just be real. And so for me, I try to make it an experience. I make it an experience that can be fun. We start off fun. We start discovering ourselves. I like to call it a vision vibe. Get your
Mm.
vision vibe going. Get that drink that you want, play that music that you want, and let's talk. Let's talk about what's going on with you, what you want to do with yourself, and then the skills. How can those skills help develop or make these gifts happen? And once we start doing that, then it's not as tedious for people. You get excited and passionate. You actually want to like get going on this project.
Mhm. Now, is it one-on-one? Because how you just described it to me, it sounds like a party.
Yeah.
Is it a party or is it you and I trying to vet through things? What does it look like?
It's on both sides. I do groups and I do individual, and I keep the same energy because
Okay.
the reality is that um, they want to feel something different. If you're coming to me to get direction, you're not coming to me to look at the wall dry. You don't want that type of energy. I'm not over the top either. I'm definitely observant of the person and try to meet them where they are. But
Mhm.
I do try to make it an interesting, interactive type of exercise. And I always start with the icebreaker,
Mhm.
individual or group. I try to keep that same energy going.
It sounds like you're a project manager.
No, isn't that right?
Yes. 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 And I say that because when we have teams,
Mhm.
we actually have to pull that energy out of them. See, we are the energy givers and they receive whatever we put out.
Right. Yeah.
And I have to figure out how I'm going to pull it. I think of project managers like we're maestros
Yes.
and you're my orchestra. And I'm not actually playing the cello and
Yeah.
I'm not playing the violin,
Yeah.
but because you are the expert at what you know, whatever that happens to be,
Yeah.
then I'm able to pull all of that positivity, all those creative ideas out. And I don't want you to feel like there's some type of risk, right? Because a lot of us don't pursue our visions because we're scared.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because we are scared. Either it could be that we're scared of success, or it could be that we're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
How do you make us feel comfortable with moving forward, right? Because they might be like me. I am not the youngest person that you've ever met. If I lean in, can you see my gray?
What? What? I couldn't tell.
Can you, can you
You mean
see
all
it?
those glitters of wisdom that I see on your head?
Oh, what?
Glitter of wisdom.
I love it. I love it. So if for the most of my life I have held myself back,
Mm,
you're my maestro.
yeah.
I want to feel like I'm in a safe environment. Have there been times when you said, we're actually going to be working together for a while because you have some blockage?
Yeah.
There's some blockage going on. Has that ever happened?
Yes. And I'm so glad you said that because it really kind of goes into the next chapter of My Vision is Clear. And that's a therapeutic chapter
Mhm.
because many times there is some trigger or some experience that we've had, some trauma, whatever, that keeps us from walking in our purpose. And I'm about getting to the root of the issue. I'm all about that. And there are times where I would become that therapist because sometimes they just need someone to listen to what they're saying. Because for them, it could have been the first time they've said it out loud and they
Right.
didn't realize that, oh my gosh, that is what's keeping me. And I feel like many times once we acknowledge what are the things or the thing that is keeping us from going forward, then we're held accountable. And then we're like, ding, 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 then we decide, okay, what am I going to do with that? Like, how am I going to work that out? And seeing that I'm not a licensed therapist yet, I always refer them to someone that can help them in that. If there's an area where I feel like I can't specifically help, that I have someone to refer them to help with that area of their life, and then they can come back to me and we can keep it going. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to be your vision mentor. I'm going to be there, but I need you to take care of your issues because that's something I can't help you with. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But I can encourage you to get the help and I can guide you to the right person to do that. And I mean, we're all works in progress. And the reality is that we're working on ourselves daily. There are times even being in this business can be, as an entrepreneur, can be very disappointing, and you're afraid that you're going to fail so you'll give up, or this comes into your way and this blocks that. So just having people or groups sometimes to just be able to talk to about those things or that person helps, and then yeah, we can do the work.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. So, what if I'm not artsy? Quiet part loud, Elaine. I'm not artsy.
What, with all that personality, I can't.
No, see, I believe in templates. I'm a template type of gal. Okay, so if I'm not artsy, would I come to you with a bunch of magazines, or am I using words? How am I going to get to my desired end result, project manager?
Well, well, the first thing I always say is that you don't have to be artsy,
Okay.
because the reality is that it's your board, and whatever look that's used to motivate you is what motivates you. And sometimes because people tend to feel a little funny about what theirs look like, I tend not to even show them my examples. I
Okay.
literally just do a blank canvas and I do a cross and I give them 4 areas and I say, name those areas. What are those topics going to be? And what pictures are going to work with this? I let them work, I guess you can say in cubes, and let them work if it's health, if it's marriage or relationship, whatever it is. And then they, ironically enough, start getting creative because I will always have the little glitter or the rhinestone things to kind of put a little pizzazz into it. And then they just slowly start adding things and then they start to like what they have.
I love it.
It's when they start looking at other people's and they're like, well, mine don't look like hers. And I'm like, that's not your vision board.
Right.
This is yours. And you liked it before you saw that one. So it's your motivational tool. You stay focused on your prize and not on someone else's. So yeah, and again, it depends on the person, but I purposefully, especially if I'm doing events and I'm doing like a group thing,
Mhm.
I just do a blank canvas. And the most you'll see is like a cross and just 4 sections. And
Mhm.
I'll ask them to just fill it in. But there's others that can look at them and just get ideas
Right.
and incorporate. So I try to do it on both sides to
Okay.
meet people where they are.
Now, so you are your biggest project, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You are your biggest project, and as we navigate what that looks like, have you ever thought of yourself as a project manager, or was this an epiphany and said, you know what, I actually do run projects, and I help other people run theirs and I'm running mine. When did that insight happen, or did it actually happen when we first started talking?
You know, let me tell you. I honestly, when I think project management, I automatically think job. Like, you're gonna, this is your team, you're gonna execute this task and you have this deadline and you orchestrate. I always put it to a job. So I never considered myself a project manager. And then my husband, who is a software developer and he does some project management as well, reminded me that, I am a manager of my home. Like it started for me here, and I didn't realize it because I think I'm just naturally a person that likes to manage things and organize things and just kind of structure things. And I never considered it. And then when you asked me to do this thing, and I started looking more and doing my research. I said, "Oh my gosh, I started this a long time ago."
I
It's like
love
an
that.
epiphany, you know.
Right.
And you don't realize that. We don't. I guess we don't kind of give ourselves credit. And I can just speak for women who are at home, taking care of the kids, being a wife, what the different roles that we play, that we are managing all of these different roles. These are all projects that we are managing. Um,
Yes.
and so to a certain degree, we are all project managers in our own right.
Yes, yes. And we always want to figure out, okay, well, what is the desired end result? Even if we're cooking,
Yes.
even if we are cooking, you want it to look a particular way, taste a particular way at the end.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are certain things that we're doing along the way. Everything has steps. Everything has a order of operation. So I am not going to put in the eggs at the wrong time. I'm going to make sure that it goes in there when it's supposed to go in there, or it's going to taste disgusting because the order matters.
Yes.
Have you
Yes.
ever done something out of order?
You know, I am very much a structured person.
Mm.
And when I do things out of order, I almost feel like, oh my gosh, I got to start over. I've had to learn to like keep going from there. And I think that's one of the skills like I kind of envy of my husband, because he's the type of person that's like, he's spontaneous, and you drop something in his lap and he's like, okay, we'll just boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, but what happened to A? Like I mean, we can't, And so I'm too structured sometimes
Mm.
that I'm learning to be able to just roll with the punches and keep it moving, because I give that advice. But for myself, because I'm so like A, B, C, D, E, F, like almost like a robot, I I'm learning as I'm talking to different people and to clients that that's not life. You are going to get off course. And then it doesn't mean that you got to start over. And you can continue right from there and keep it moving, and you'll be fine. You will live. You'll be okay.
Have you heard of the sentence "and other duties as assigned"? Does that ring a bell at
No,
all?
no.
And other duties as assigned. Usually, when we're in the workforce, or we're looking to be there, and we're looking down that job rec that says all of the different things that that particular job function has to do.
Yeah.
Usually, at the very end, if we read the very end,
Mhm.
it says "and other duties as assigned."
Yes. Yes.
And the reason why it's there is because there is no way to know everything that you need.
Yes.
Things are always going to come up. So if we think to ourselves, and other duties as assigned,
Wow.
I know that I need to pivot. Eventually, I need to veer off and do something a little bit different. But it's kind of like that GPS, though, right?
Yes. Yes.
Rerouting, rerouting, rerouting.
Oh,
So as we're working through all of these things, and I know that you are excellent at what you do. I know that.
thank you.
What would you tell me so
Mhm.
that I can be better? Right? How could I be better? It's because I'm confident that along your journey,
Mhm.
you've accumulated tips and tricks
Yeah.
that have worked well with you,
Mhm.
right? Are there any tips, even if it's just one, are there any tips that you would be able to share with me and our listeners? Any tips?
Yes. One thing that I keep for myself is the love of learning, always keeping my mind open to learning. because you will always learn as long as you have breath. And there's always going to be something that you did not know. And even if you think you know something, there's always a way that you can get better at it. And so I think keeping our minds open to receiving criticisms, receiving advice, going and searching and reading and finding different ways to better yourself. Sometimes we get very comfortable in what we're doing, and a little bit of pride gets in the way, and sometimes it starts to rear up to arrogance, and we don't feel like anybody can tell us anything. Um, and so I feel like that's always a dangerous place. In order to be able to really fully execute your purpose, there's many areas to it. It's not just one thing. And because of that, you have to be open to learning different ways that you can still use that skill, that gift, to be able to really expound and live in your purpose and be better and do things that you didn't even think you could do. But you'll never know if you're closed minded.
It's as if I need to keep my curiosity, right?
Absolutely.
Almost like when I was little, I would
Hmm.
sit on the porch, right? Because we didn't, times were different then.
Right.
When you woke up, you
Yeah.
went outside. Right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
outside and I'm making up games. I'm
Yes.
making up games. I'm sitting on the porch, which was a brick porch, and my knees were
Mhm.
very aware of
Yeah.
said brick porch. So I had a brick porch, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting and I'm paying attention to all of the different things that are around me, right? It could be just the particles that are floating around in the air. It could be cars that are going by.
Mhm.
It could also be just different ideas that I might have, right? Different things that I might want to do, and sometimes we are told that because of our gender, that even though you are seeing all of these fantastic things happening in the world and you have your curiosity, that
Mhm.
this isn't for you.
Yeah.
This is this is for these people, but it isn't for you.
Mhm.
Have you seen that when it comes to vision boarding or visioning or just brainstorming in that way in either that group environment or on an individual basis? Because I admit, when I think of this, I think of ladies. I don't so much think of men. Am I wrong in that way of thinking?
Well, one, you're not. It's very popular amongst women because I think women, we come from an emotional place. And and another thing is that we like to be creative, and sometimes and many times people will associate vision boarding with arts and crafts.
Hmm.
And so when you present that sometimes to a guy, they're like, I'm not no little kid. I'm not doing this, that, and the next. And so because of that stigma, there are a lot of women. So I do find that many of the reasons that women do not walk forward into their goals or their purpose is because someone has told them they cannot do it, that they shouldn't do it, that this is the role you're supposed to play, that you don't have this skill, that you're too old or you're too this, you're too that, to not be able to move forward. And so it goes back to the root of the issue of why you know they didn't move forward, and having to really take time to work on that aspect of it, because that is really dealing with esteem. And we all know that esteem is something that we work on daily, because just wanting to do anything in this society of opinions, can be hard, especially on women, when we've been pretty much told that these are the roles that we're playing and we can't have these types of jobs and so on and so forth. And so that gets ingrained in you and it becomes a natural thing for you, almost as natural as your name. Like you just know this is not for you. So you're going to do these type of things. But then I always also say that we're human beings that as much as you try to pour out or douse that fire, it's always in there and it ends up coming out. The gifts and the skills that we have ends up coming out in different areas, such as stay-at-home moms, right? That's like a big thing for women. That's the role that we're supposed to play, apparently. And so we'll start to use our skills and gifts in that. Or if it's helping our husbands' businesses or whatever the case may be. And then once we start to like think about things, we're like, I can do this for myself. I can be a strong force for myself. Why not? But because we've been told that, and let me just be transparent for a moment. I was told one time, not everybody's supposed to be a leader. So don't feel like you have to front, in other words, for us, like you can lead this out. And, when it initially was said to me, I sat with that and I was just like, okay.
Did they just did they just say that to me?
Like, what? And for me, initially, I was like, wow, what did he see? Because I'm always like trying to understand what people see. What am I giving off that made you think to say that? Right. And so it could have been my presence. It could have been me not being a part of a discussion, whatever it was. Or it could have just been that he was just being mean. Whatever it was, it definitely made me question myself in that moment.
Mhm.
And because of that, because I am naturally a person that doesn't speak out, I'm an introvert naturally. So when you hear things like that, you tend to just sit into your quietness and kind of sit back and just work behind the scenes. And many times I was good for that. Like, you could not get me to be doing this today.
And I'm happy you are.
Yeah, I would never do this. So it took me finding my skills. It took me working on my self-esteem. It took me having a group of not only women, but men to pour into me and tell me and show me the things that I do have that are capable for even having my business, because I never envisioned myself being an entrepreneur, never. And so it really it's really, 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 really important that you have the right people, that you take time to affirm yourself and take time to discover who you are. Rediscover, and rediscover, because nobody can tell you who you are, what you can give to this world but you.
I
And
love that.
um,
Yeah.
and so I feel like just discovering who we are is a big thing that'll help us to battle a lot of these crazy statements from people.
Yeah. And they always want to tell you.
Oh yeah.
They always want to share, and I might say, I didn't ask you that. But see, I'm a different personality, right? So, what do they call me? A driver type A. My mother calls me a leaper.
Mm.
She says that I'm a leaper. And when I was younger, I had to ask her, what does that mean when you say that I'm a leaper? And she said, when you have an idea,
Mhm.
you do it. You,
Mm.
you don't think about, what, maybe next year
Right.
or, anything like that. I'm like, well, to me, if it came into my mind and if it didn't make me feel nauseous,
Mhm.
then why not? Because there was a reason why it came into my mind, but that doesn't mean that I know how to do everything, right?
Right.
So what do you think about training? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that everybody could benefit from training. Um, I know many people think, they're trying to put you in a box, and that can be very like, I guess that can make some people feel like they don't want to go ahead and pursue that thing. But we have to be open to the fact that there are certain structures everywhere we go in everything that we do. There is room for you to be who you are, because obviously that's why, they hired you, let's say, or they're taking a chance on you because they love that spirit of, you have great ideas, but now, like, how can we conform it? How can we make sense of it to fit this thing? um and so I feel like training to me is necessary. I don't think that I think there's levels to it. It doesn't, some for some things it doesn't have to be heavy training. It can just be light training, but I feel like no matter what you do, there has to be some type of training that follows with it, just to kind of give it more, I like to say, more zhuzh. Well, know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I would say that we all need some type of a foundation, right? What is my baseline? Being because if I have a baseline, if I know all the major things that have to happen,
Yeah.
and then if I deviate from that,
Mhm.
I'm not totally going rogue because I still have my base.
Absolutely.
I'm just giving myself that zhuzh.
Yeah.
I have secret sauce, and I'm
Yeah.
making sure that I put my secret sauce in
Yeah.
the thing that I'm doing. Well, this is has been absolutely fantastic. I am overjoyed
Yeah.
that you were willing to introduce yourself and what you do, and how you bring purpose to people who might be a little bit shy about living their purpose or even articulating it to the
Mhm.
point that someone else can hear it.
Yeah.
This is the fun part, game on. This is your time to ask me whatever type of project management, each type of question that you want to ask. What do you want to know? You have a certified project management professional in your midst.
Oh my gosh. Don't let me go blank. Don't let me go blank.
I know, right? You'd be like, what do you want to know? Because I will spill the beans. What do you want to know?
Okay. I guess when it comes to when you have organized or done this outline of how you're going to execute a project,
Mhm,
and something in the middle of that kind of goes left,
mhm.
how do you ring your team back together when it comes down to, like, let's say the execution just failed and you miss something in the process? Like, how do you get your group to, like, get back into starting where they are and keep moving? Not
Understood,
necessarily.
understood. Well,
Yeah.
all projects have little bitty projects in them.
Okay.
All projects have little bitty projects in them, and this is that part where we talk about what that foundation is. What is that structure?
Mhm.
So let's just say that we're talking about traditional project management, because there are different pieces to it, different levels, different things that we do. But if we're talking about traditional,
Mhm.
there are stages to it. First, we have to define what the problem is. What are we trying to fix? Because projects fix things. That is their sole purpose.
Okay.
So, what is it that we are trying to fix or alter or improve?
Okay.
Then we are going to plan it out. Now, our planning could be us gathering data, right?
Yeah.
What are the different variables? What are the different pieces? Why did it go wrong? What is broken? So we went this way,
Mhm.
and we found out that that didn't work. Okay, so how did we know that that didn't work? So we would just want to write down all of the ways that we know that it didn't work.
Yeah.
And then we are going to brainstorm, have different conversations about what we want it to look like. And very similar to that car situation that I was
Yeah.
talking about, if we hold on to a thought for 17 seconds, other thoughts like it are going to come in. That's what brainstorming is. So either you can brainstorm with yourself, and you
Yeah.
hold on to that thought and other ideas come in, or you're brainstorming with other people and you're putting that idea into the world, and then other people on your team are giving you more things. You as the project manager, you're writing it all down. Did I miss anything? Did I document it the way that you would like for it to be documented? And you're going to put all of that down.
Mhm.
And then we are going to figure out, okay, well, what should we try next?
Mm.
What should we try next? And I love using dots and post-its. Dots and post-its are my jam. So I'm passing out post-its and they're putting out all their little ideas of ways that we could fix said thing that was broken. And
Yeah.
then I pass out dots. And so I say, put the dot on the thing that you think we should try first. Now, most of the time, people are going to put dots on different things, right? They have different ideas, but that post-it that has the most dots, that's the thing that we are going to try first. And
Mm.
then if that doesn't work, guess what? We have other post-its with dots. So then we would head down to that next post-it with the next least amount of dots, and then we try that. And then we're just going to bounce that off of what we're trying to fix until we evaluate and say we actually fixed it. But all projects have little bitty projects in them because things go awry.
I love that. I love that. And I think it just made me actually see project management differently in the sense of it's not always about you controlling how things go. It's really seeing how your team can help make this thing go together. And we're all going to do this together and make sense of it together and
Mhm.
try everybody's ideas so no one feels like they're not bringing anything to the group. I love
Exactly, exactly. And it's fun. I know most people think project management is boring and we're boring people. But
that.
it is that zhuzh that
Yeah.
you were talking about, that
Yeah.
we bring to the table, right? Because yes, it is hard work, but it doesn't have to be terrible work. It actually could be a lot of fun. And a lot of people don't like to work on teams. I don't want to work on a team, do it by myself.
Right. Yeah.
But that is all tied to whomever is leading it. Because if if you've ever seen a team and you wished that you were on that team, have you ever wished you were on that team? I'm like, I hate my team.
Yeah.
I want to be on that team.
Yeah. Take
It
me.
is take me, but like, you know what? I'm leaving y'all. You know, I may or may not have left a group at one point in time because I said, you know what? I don't want to be on that team anymore. I want to be over
This side. Yeah.
here. Yeah. Veronica left the group. It may or may not have happened in real life, may or
Right.
may not, but as long as we give people the permission, as odd as that may sound,
Mhm.
people sometimes need permission to be great.
Mm.
So I always tell people who are on my teams, one, I don't fail. So
Mm.
if you were chosen for my team, if you're on my team, then you were chosen to be here
Mm.
because it feels different than if you have to do something than if somebody picked you to do it.
Yeah.
And that by itself takes them to that next level.
I love that. I love that. You like set the tone. I love it.
It's
Yes.
fun. I'm so excited. So I appreciate you for being here, for participating, for giving back, because this is definitely going to be things that a lot of people are going to need. I do want them to have the ability to contact you or learn more about what it is that you do. How would they be able to reach you?
Yeah. So first, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. I love it. I love it. Really, really made me feel comfortable doing this. So thank you. Um, you can reach me at my website, www.myvisionisclear.com. Social media at My Vision is Clear LLC for Instagram and the same for Facebook.
Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much to our listeners. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for participating with us today. Comment below because I will be using your comments to share with me what you want to see next. Be sure that you subscribe, click on that bell, and then you'll be able to see all the other new episodes that will be coming out. But thank you so much, and we'll see you later.